In this video, we are going to look at why you might be struggling with your chest to bar, and I'm going to give you some drills and strength work to help with it as well. The main issue we see with chest to bar, whether we're working on strict or kipping work, is that our chest doesn't physically touch the bar, which is super frustrating. So we're going to look at why this might be happening. Number one, you definitely need to make sure that you have strict pull-ups if you are then looking to work towards being able to do chest to bar, because if you can't do a strict pull-up, you're going to find it really difficult to get any more height out of that pull to get you your chest to bar. I'm going to talk about chest to bar in terms of strict and kipping work, because generally it's just that same issue of having strength in the top position. So I'm going to show you lots of things we can do to work on that in this video, and then we can break down technique in a different video. First of all, let's look at a chest to bar. We want to make sure that we are making contact anywhere collarbone down for a chest to bar, and then also if we are training chest to bar, it's great to progress them onto things like high pull-ups or a higher chest to bar, so you're aiming to hit different heights on your chest and possibly even ribs as well if you have the strength to do that. What people make as the main mistake when we're performing this whole rep of a strict chest to bar or even a kipping chest to bar is that we forget that there is a pressing element to this movement pattern. It's the same with pull-ups as well. We're not necessarily trying to pull ourselves up towards the bar. If we think of it in that way, you're just going to end up with that gap between you and the bar. We're thinking about pressing the bar down towards us, and if you can get into this way of thinking, it's going to help your pull-ups, it's going to help your chest to bar, and then even bar muscle ups if that's something that you are wanting to work on as well. It's a press, not a pull. Even with bent arms, I'm thinking about pressing that bar down towards me, not just trying to bring myself up to the bar as much as possible. To start off with, you need to be working on some form of strict strength, pull-ups, strict chest to bar. You can also do strict chest to bar in your reverse grip as well, which I'll show you in a moment. The coaching points stay similar throughout. Look up, because that's the direction that you want to go in. I'm going to think about pulling my shoulders away from my ears, and with my little fingers I'm thinking about bending the bar and pulling it down, pressing it down towards me so that I can get as much height as possible. I am also keeping my elbows tucked in towards my body as much as possible, and with a chest to bar in particular, my elbows need to drive back so I can touch my chest to the bar. If I just try and pull my elbows straight down, then no matter how strong I am, my chest is never going to touch the bar. If I've got a bar out in front of me and I just pull my elbows down, the bar's still going to be out in front of me. I have to pull and then row back and really squeeze my shoulder blades together to use my back muscles to make sure that my elbows are driving back and my chest can actually touch the bar. So we want to think pull and row, or press and row would probably be an even better way to think about it. You can use bands to help you with your positions here, but often we can find that if you are lacking in this top position strength, even with a band, sometimes chest to bar can feel really difficult, but working with the chin up position as well can be really useful. These are the strict variations that you need to be working on. But why do we find this position so difficult? It's because quite often we will train things like pull-ups where we don't need to be fully active in that top position. Now I'm going to talk you through what we can do to help out being able to achieve this top position, whether it's kipping, banded, or strict. The main thing that I often find people are missing out on is the free weight strength. So either barbell or dumbbell strength. You need to be doing some kind of rows in your training, because we encounter limitations when it comes to the body weight movements. For example, you can build on your row every single week by going up in small increments. We can't necessarily always add on one whole rep of a chest to bar. So we still need to be working that strict element, but alongside this, at some point during the week, you need to have some kind of row in there. Dumbbells, barbell, you can progress it and change it up as you go along. This is a barbell bent over row, and I love using this with all of my clients to work on their pull-up strength and their chest to bar strength, because you can see that the elbow position at the top here is similar to what we want for our chest to bar. Our elbows are driving back behind us, my shoulders are away from my ears. Barbell bent over row is nice as well because we're working on maintaining and holding that hinged position here. The main thing we also want to think about when we're performing a barbell bent over row is that we are pulling the barbell towards our pockets or towards our hip crease, and we're not leaving the bar out in front of us, because then we're not going to be using our back as much as we want to, and then we're not going to be building the correct position that we want for our chest to bar. So we have our rowing strength with weights. The other way we can work on being strong in this top chest to bar position is by finding it in different orientations or on different pieces of equipment and scaling the movement back. To start off with, to make this drill even easier, you would put your feet on the floor. When you become proficient at that, then we can put our feet up on the bench to make it harder. The main thing we want to do here is make sure you can actually pause and hold at the top of the rep. I see lots of people doing things like our ring rows or chest to ring rows, but we need to build strength in the position that we are weak in, which is this top one. So we're going to think of rings touched our chest. The same when we're performing these. We're not thinking about pulling or throwing ourselves up towards the rings. We're thinking about pressing the rings down towards us. Elbows drive back. Try and keep them squeezed in nice and tight so that we can hold this top position and then lower down with control. And then another thing we can do is on a low bar, working on holding this position. So if that's something you are stuck with, then we need to introduce an isometric hold to prove to yourself that you can find the position. So many people say, I don't have the mobility to find and touch the bar with my chest. You would start with a nice low bar that you can easily touch your chest to, and then focus on holding that strong top position with all those points that I've talked about before. Shoulders away from your ears. Yes, you do, but we need to scale it back and then build it up from there. Elbows tucked in and also driving back behind your body, and then on this you would increase the amount of time that you can hold it over time. And then eventually you could start to add in those holds with your feet elevated, or perhaps even at the top of your strict chest to bar rep. But if you're struggling to hold this position for any length of time, then that's the thing that is going to be holding you back with your kipping or your strict chest to bar.